Naruto is no longer the main character of the Naruto universe, and while that's a hard pill to swallow, it is the truth. And Kishimoto has done an incredible job of scaling back Naruto from his own universe, making it very clear to all of us ex-Naruto, now Boruto fans. That makes it sound like I'm not a Naruto fan anymore. I am. It's just, it's like now it's you get it. Who probably wouldn't complain if Boruto was just a story following adult Naruto, that it's no longer his time to shine. And the way that Kishimoto has done this is masterful. See, Kishimoto allowed for Naruto to shine in the early parts of Boruto, acting as the steward of Earth, the champion of all ninjas, and then slowly but surely, really through no fault of Naruto's own, took him further and further away from the spotlight, until eventually Naruto was completely sidelined to the plot in a way that felt organic, non-rushed, and made sense. Because, well, sure, Naruto got nerfed. He got nerfed doing something that Naruto would absolutely do. Naruto got nerfed by putting his life on the line for his family, his country, and the entirety of the Earth. Something that any version of Naruto at any time in his story would have done. And after he got nerfed, he got gojoed. That is, he got sent to his own version of the prison route. But that was the perfect thing to do with Naruto given the scenario, as nobody wants to watch the now weakened version of Naruto try to battle against stronger and stronger opponents just to realize that our favorite character is now not all he used to be. It's kind of like watching WrestleMania nowadays. John Cena's bald, The Undertaker is old, and it's just kind of sad. So instead of going through that, Naruto burned like a bonfire in his final fight using Baryon mode. And while that stripped him of the majority of his power, he was taken from the plot, so we didn't have to see him at his lowest. But still, even though Kishimoto is making it abundantly clear that Naruto is no longer the main character of this universe, there are a lot of people who believe at some point our glorious king will return to his top spot. That is to say that every single day my inbox is flooded with emails of people posing questions and theories to me, asking or trying to answer the question of how will Naruto become strong again? But of those who try to answer this question as opposed to ask it, what are the conclusions that they've drawn? Well, so far as I've seen, people have devised a myriad of different ways that Naruto could regain his former strength. And while I've covered a lot of those theories, my email has been more inundated than usual with one particular theory. And this theory, which is apparently very common amongst Boruto fans, is, let's just say, not all that well crafted. But that doesn't mean that there isn't some kernels of possible truth in this theory that could lead to a massive power up for Naruto down the line. That is to say, well, the emails I've been getting pretty much ignore all the rules of the Naruto universe. The sentiment behind them could truly bring back the child of prophecy. So today, I'd like to go over the most common Naruto is gonna be strong again theory I've been receiving lately, which tell me the tale of Naruto receiving what I lovingly call the Baryon Sage Mode. But before we get to talking about the Baryon Sage Mode, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And if you guys love the ideas of me breaking down your favorite theories from your favorite anime, you're gonna love my other channel, The Weeb Commander, where instead of talking about Naruto and Boruto, I talk all other anime and manga. And if you just love the idea of me talking about anime and manga, you're gonna love my anime podcast, Otaku's Anonymous, where me and Danny Mata break down everything that happens this week in anime. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And if you want to look like somebody who keeps up with all things anime and manga, go ahead and meander on over into my merch store, otakusanonymous.net, where you can pick up some of the greatest anime t-shirts, sweatshirts, and sticker packs known to man. Also, if you guys want to see me live, I am going to be hosting 6, yes, you heard that right, 6 panels at Comic Palooza in Houston from May 24th to the 26th. Come on down and see me. But before we get into all that, today we're going to talk about a brand new sponsor to the page, Lumen. Lumen is the best thing that's happened to me in 2024. It is a handheld metabolic coach, a tool that's helped me measure my metabolism through my breath. See, for those of you who have followed my page for a while, you'll know that health is a big part of my life. Whether it's eating the same macro-friendly breakfast for the last 7 years, trying to cook myself a healthy dinner at least 5 times a week, keeping myself healthy metabolically, mentally, and physically is as important to me as anything. And with this incredible tool, I've managed to increase the amount of care I can take for my own body by increasing my energy levels and maintaining a healthy weight. See, Lumen has an app, and on that app, it lets you know, simply by breathing into this tool, whether or not you're burning fat or carbs, and gives you tailored guidance on how to improve your sleep, your workouts, and even your stress management. So your metabolism is like the mitochondria of the cell. It breaks down all the food that you eat and turns it into energy, the fuel that keeps you going. And therefore, since your metabolism is at the center of basically all the good things in your body, metabolic health is a fantastic way to transform how you feel and look. And therefore, Lumen gives you recommendations based off the breath metabolizer, and therefore Lumen gives you recommendations based off what it picks up in your breath, which you register with this tool either first thing in the morning, before or after meals, or after exercise. It's incredibly flexible, kind of like how your metabolism should be. See, metabolic flexibility allows for your body to switch between what it's using as energy, be that fat or carbs. And the more flexible you are at switching between these two energy sources, the better you're gonna feel and the lower chance you'll have of getting diseases like type 2 diabetes. And the Lumen tool can help you decipher just how metabolically flexible you are. But if this sounds too good to be true, Lumen has logged 55 million metabolic measurements and are the leading experts on all things metabolic health. The recommendations are science-based and personalized to your measurements, which is why every morning I blow into my Lumen and it tells me whether or not metabolically I'm burning fats or carbs. Then my Lumen gives me a personalized nutrition plan for the day based off the measurement it just got from me. And anytime I want a more precise measurement of what's going on in my body, I just blow into my Lumen. Get $100 off your Lumen device today and a free metabolic health score. Go to go.lumen.me/NCHammer or follow the QR code on screen right now. Or simply click the link in my description, and yes, you heard me right. Today you can get $100 off your Lumen. Listen, theories about how Naruto is going to get his strength back are a lot like fingerprints. Everybody has one, they're all different, and for some reason they keep showing up on the outside of Cybertrucks. But while every single theory is a beautiful and unique rainbow, some of those beautiful and unique rainbows look a bit like other ones. And a lot of those similarities have been popping up in my inbox recently. And while I do tend to ignore a bad, not so well thought out theory if it only pops up once in my email, if it's emailed to me in some varying capacity multiple times, I have to talk about it. Since a bad theory, especially one that's propagated, is usually built off a misunderstanding of the source material. Because before one can theorize about how a future IP is going to pan out, you need to have a full and complete understanding of said IP. So today I'm going to take the general through line of all of these theories I've been emailed over the last couple of weeks and lovingly call it Naruto is getting Baryon Sage mode. And you're gonna have to stick with me on this one because this theory takes some twists and turns that even I wasn't necessarily prepared for. One, I'd like to establish that I'm gonna be dismantling this theory a little bit, but the creativity to think about this theory in the first place is rather impressive. The idea of applying the Baryon mode principle to something that's not a Jinchuriki and a tailed beast chakra signatures is not something I'd actually thought of, but it might just be something that Kishimoto has thought of. So I want everybody to take me dismantling this theory with a small grain of salt, because there is a silver lining at the end of this video. See, this theory stipulates that now that Naruto understands how Baryon mode works, as he's used it with Kurama, and therefore he has practical experience in the colliding of chakra signatures, that Naruto should be able to apply that principle, Baryon mode, to something like Sage mode, which I guess, if you don't understand how Sage mode or Baryon mode works, kind of makes sense. But just in case you do fall into the camp of people who don't fully understand Baryon mode or Sage mode, I'm gonna pretty briefly explain how the two of them work, because I'm fairly sure that a couple of you just went, maybe that would work. I mean, in essence, you're just replacing the tailed beast with Senjutsu Chakra, right? No, unfortunately, wrong. See, let's talk about Baryon mode first. See, Baryon mode, while not technically named after anything in nuclear fission, is based off the principles of nuclear fission. Baryons are a composite subatomic particle, a lot like electrons or neutrons. But what makes a baryon and not an electron or a neutron is that they have an odd amount of valence quarks. See, the quarks model is a classification scheme for hadrons, and none of this means anything, and it's not related to nuclear fission in any sense that's going to be important for this video. Nuclear fission is how we currently make nuclear energy and nuclear bombs. And the principle, while incredibly complicated, is also rather simple. Essentially, you take a block of uranium-235. The bigger the block, the more energy. Uranium-235 is the most reactive type of uranium. You then fire an electron into that uranium block, and the firing of that electron into that uranium block releases 2 neutrons, energy, and some lighter molecules. But the big thing here is energy. And a lot of it. Now, by firing this electron into that uranium-235 block, you create a chain reaction of these neutrons and electrons firing off a highly radioactive element, and thus that chain reaction releases a chain reaction of either a massive explosion or a ton of energy. And this chain reaction goes until eventually the uranium-235 that's being used is spent, mostly broken down into lighter, less radioactive elements like barium and krypton. But the general idea between nuclear fission is that you're destroying the uranium and the electron fired into it. Though one of Newton's laws of thermodynamics is that mass can't be destroyed or created, just converted, which is why you get lighter elements out of the uranium-235. Now, the Naruto world fortunately never had a man who had an apple fall on his head and die a virgin who decided to make calculus live in it. And so the laws of thermodynamics seemingly don't apply. Because in the Naruto world, the closest thing we have to nuclear fission is Baryon mode, which works almost the exact same way as nuclear fission, where two energy sources collide into each other, and the result is a massive output of energy. However, in this world, there's no barium or krypton as a result of the collision of these two energies, because chakra isn't physical. And thus the biggest difference between baryon mode and nuclear fission in the real world is that when these two sources of chakra are collided, they release energy and then disappear forever. Presumably, at least so far as we understand. There is a possible argument to be made that it's actually nuclear fusion and not nuclear fission, but that's an entire different day in physics. It's how the sun makes energy, and we're actually pretty close to figuring it out. We actually have figured it out. We've done it 3 times now. However, because there's no laws of thermodynamics and chakra can be destroyed, and since Kurama is entirely made of chakra, when Kurama destroys the entirety of his chakra using baryon mode with Naruto, Kurama dies. And what's important to note here, and what a lot of people seem to ignore, is that Naruto was also destroying his chakra. I know it's incredibly easy to rest into the ideology that Naruto used baryon mode and then because he was still alive, was able to regain the chakra he used in baryon mode. Because so far as we've known throughout the entirety of Naruto, you can expend chakra, but it always comes back. Hell, that principle even applies to tailed beasts, who if their Jinchuriki dies, they're able to re-manifest somewhere else so long as they still have chakra left on Earth. But that is not the case here. Every ounce of chakra that Naruto collided with Kurama, he will never get back. He wasn't using his chakra, he was lowering the limit of chakra he had. And we learned all of this from Sakura, who was healing Naruto after his battle against Ishiki, where she told him that she estimates that he lost about half of the chakra he used to have, just saying he wouldn't be able to spam the usual attacks he used, to which Naruto says, yeah, I always felt like I was cheating with how much chakra I had. And thus, if you assume that both Naruto and Kurama had an equal-ish amount of chakra, and Naruto had access to all of that chakra, Naruto now has 1/4 the amount of chakra he had when he had Kurama, because he has lost 50% by losing Kurama and another 25% by colliding that chakra with Kurama. And while technically if Naruto were to use Sage Mode, he would be able to get back up to 50-ish% of his chakra, if we assume that Naruto with Kurama had 1 chakra, Sage Mode allowed him to get to 2. Now Sage Mode only allows him to get to 0.5. So pretty consistently across the board, regardless of form, Naruto is now roughly about 4 times weaker than he was pre-Baryon mode. And that's if we're assuming that him and Kurama had an equal amount of chakra, which some people believe isn't the case because Kurama's the person who ran out of chakra first in the Baryon mode equation. However, I believe it's fairly clear that Kurama was trying to be the person who ran out of chakra first. And if in actuality Kurama hadn't tried to dump extra chakra into the equation so that he would run out before Naruto, Naruto probably would have been able to use Baryon mode longer, but it probably would have cost him his life. But all of that is an assumption. Technically, the scientific and logical explanation is that Naruto had more chakra than Kurama, but I'm going with my heart on this one. But enough about Baryon mode, let's talk about Sage mode. See, the Earth is abundant in something known as nature chakra. It runs in the rivers, the rocks, the trees, and the fields. It's everywhere. But the thing is, nature chakra's beginnings are a bit hazy to us, because while we know that the reason that humans have chakra in the first place is because one day Kaguya descended down to the earth, ate a chakra fruit, and then had children who were the first people on earth to have chakra besides herself, and then one of those 2 sons, Hagoromo, went around the world after sealing her and taught humanity ninshu, which is the mental half of gathering chakra. And while Hagoromo only wanted humanity to learn ninshu so they could tap into the meditative greater unconsciousness as humanity and come together as a large planet-sized society, what actually happened is people learned how to apply the physical side of the chakra equation to ninshu and create chakra, which they then molded into ninjutsu. Exactly what Hagoromo didn't want. But unfortunately, that only really gives us the equation for how humans got chakra, not the Earth, which has actually become an even more compelling plot point in Boruto, as the concept of nature energy might possibly be changing with things like the Rasengan Uzuhiko, as Boruto's Rasengan Uzuhiko is said to be able to use the chakra of the Earth and capitalize on the Earth's spin. And while that might possibly be an allusion to Boruto becoming a sage, we can't say for sure yet. So as it currently stands, there might be multiple avenues to tap into the power of nature chakra, which we once again don't know the origin of. It might have come from Hagoromo seeding the entire Earth with his chakra, or it could have always been there. Now, the more likely and more responsible answer is that it was always there, because assuming that Hagoromo went around the entire world, seeding the planet with chakra, is a bit crazy. Also, when you consider things like the fact that the Ten Tails is said to be a massive convulsing nature chakra without ego but with incredible power, that shows that non-earthbound entities also have nature chakra. So it's safe to assume that life in any capacity comes through the medium of nature chakra. That just didn't necessarily apply to humans for some reason. On top of this, we understand that nature chakra interacts with regular chakra in a way that's kind of confusing. Like the fact by tapping into nature chakra that Naruto was able to sense where Madara's limbo clones were, and the fact that Sage Mode is the only thing that's able to battle against Keke Toda like the expansive Truth Seeker orbs. And thus that makes a pretty compelling argument for nature chakra existing outside of the bounds of regular chakra, ninjutsu, and shinjutsu. And Sage Mode works by absorbing that nature chakra. But there's also a couple of other key steps, the most important of which is blending that nature energy with your own energy to make Senjutsu chakra. And thus, in a way, being a perfect sage makes the entire world your tailed beast. But what do I mean by that? Well, essentially, by accessing nature chakra and being able to blend that nature chakra with your own to make Senjutsu chakra, if you're hypothetically blending your chakra at a 1-to-1 ratio, making your body half your chakra and half nature chakra, or twofold Senjutsu chakra, you've effectively doubled your chakra pool. And this is why Naruto stacking Sage Mode with Kurama is so wildly powerful. Because if Naruto was just a regular sage, he would be able to double his chakra pool through perfect Sage Mode. But if we're assuming that being able to tap into the entirety of Kurama's chakra has already doubled Naruto's chakra, and since Kurama was shown being able to pull in nature chakra himself effectively by adding Sage Mode on top of Kurama, Naruto is actually quadrupling his chakra pool, which is why he seemingly has no end to his battery, because effectively he doesn't, at least within the capacity of every other sentient being in the universe. And thus the Sage Baryon Mode theory dictates that Naruto would be able to replace Kurama with the nature chakra, which actually sounds like a really good idea, because while Kurama can run out of chakra, the Earth really can't. While Kurama might have an insane amount of chakra, comparatively to all of the nature energy on an entire planet, it was minuscule. And thus, if Naruto were to hypothetically collide his chakra with nature energy, he would be able to access a Baryon Mode much longer than he could do it if he was with Kurama. And there's really no reason to technically believe that this couldn't happen. I mean, sure, you would have to be an insanely high-level sage, but Naruto is, to be able to pull in nature energy, accelerate it, and collide it into your own to reenact a Baryon Mode of sorts. But the important takeaway here is not that it's possible, it's that it would kill Naruto, because if we remember, Baryon Mode destroys the chakra of all involved. And while destroying the nature chakra isn't the worst thing of all time, I mean, maybe a couple of trees will wilt, destroying the other half of Naruto's chakra would either kill him or condemn him to living a life of having as much chakra as Tauntaun. And this is a theory that I've been emailed multiple times because I don't believe people realize that Baryon Mode had consequences for Naruto as well. And thus Baryon Mode is not something you can activate all the time. In fact, if Kurama wasn't the one actively trying to be the side of the equation that ran out of chakra first in the Yoshiki fight, that activation of Baryon Mode could have very easily spelled the end for Naruto. So while yes, it is technically a possibility that Naruto could accelerate nature energies pulling into himself and clash it against his own chakra to recreate a Sage Baryon Mode, it would undoubtedly be the last thing that Naruto ever did. And while it would be cool to see Baryon Mode again and know fully that this is going to be the last thing that Naruto ever does in some kind of final stand moment like opening the 8th gate, I don't think that's gonna happen. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a possible kernel of truth to this theory. See, because there might actually be a way for Naruto to achieve this nature's Baryon Mode that wouldn't come at the cost of his life and would last a whole lot longer than his original Baryon Mode. And without the myriad of emails I got about this topic, I really wouldn't have had a jumping off point for this extension of that theory. So I guess thank you. See, like we've already established, replacing Kurama with nature energy doesn't solve the greater issue of Naruto dies at the end of this. But what if we took Naruto, or at least his chakra, out of the equation? See, well, the core principles of Sage Mode require 3 things: the ability to pull in nature energy, the ability to blend that nature energy with your own chakra to make the proper aspect ratio of Senjutsu chakra, and a strong enough body to undergo that Sage transformation. What if you were to approach Sage Mode in an entirely different way? See, what if instead of blending nature chakra with your own, you simply harnessed the power of nature chakra? See, we've already seen, especially now in Boruto, that nature chakra is one of the most formidable forces in the entire universe. The 2 Ten Tails, and therefore by extension, the 9-tailed beasts, are just nature chakra, summarily given ego by Hagoromo, but they all started as just nature chakra. And through the power of that nature chakra, the original 10 Tails was able to terraform the entirety of the Earth. They are entities so powerful that they've kind of just been agreed upon to not be killable. And thus, if you want to get rid of one, you have to absorb it into yourself, break it into 9 pieces, and then still be left with a husk of it that you have to seal away on the moon, or break it down until it's so small and emaciated that it can turn into Jura. On top of all of this, nature chakra on a world so teeming with life, like Naruto's planet, is an inextinguishable force of nature. It's a limitless energy source. So what if instead of melding this nature energy with your own, you collide it into itself? See, if one can absorb nature chakra, then we can assume that nature chakra has flow. On top of this, the existence of perfect and non-perfect sages show us that humans have the ability to have nature energy in their bodies at different concentrations, as perfect sages are able to find the ratio of nature chakra to their own chakra better than imperfect sages, who presumably have more nature chakra in their body than perfect sages, and hence the animalistic appearances. So if nature chakra has flow and can be pulled into the body, does it always necessarily have to be blended with the chakra of the person pulling that nature chakra into their body? While the majority of things that we know about Sage Mode would say yes, the existence of Jugo's clan and their Kekkei Genkai might prove the opposite. See, Jugo's clan's Kekkei Genkai allows him and anybody else from his clan to always passively pull in nature energy. And while there's a better than good chance that an additional part of the Kekkei Genkai is blending that nature energy with their own chakra, Jugo and presumably anybody else with this Kekkei Genkai can also be overloaded with nature energy, at which point they essentially get thrown into a roid rage and they get to grow cannons on their arms and legs and they try and kill everything around them. Not desirable necessarily, but that's only because there's too much nature energy in their body, meaning that a solid way to counteract this issue would be to get rid of the nature energy. And thus, really, when it boils down to it, if Jugo or somebody from his clan hits one of these roid rages, there's 2 ways to deal with it. Either hide them somewhere where they can't kill everybody and they can wait for the nature energy to dispense, or hit them with the nature energy expelling stick that Fukakusu has in Mount Muabuka. But what if there was a third option? What if the nature energy being pulled into your body wasn't in your body for long? What if instead, the second that the nature energy was pulled into your body, it was collided with another source of nature energy, resulting in a nuclear fission-esque reaction? And since all chakra is connected and chakra can be destroyed, the user of this technique, who's constantly pulling in the nature energy around them into their body to enter into this nuclear fission-esque reaction, would never be overwhelmed by the amount of nature energy in their system, because that nature energy was being converted to a higher level of energy that doesn't confer the same principles as nature energy. And since nature chakra can be melded with human chakra, we can assume that the energy yield of smashing 2 sources of nature chakra into each other would be comparable to any other type of Baryon mode. So if you can absorb and presumably accelerate nature chakra, like how you can accelerate your own chakra, what's stopping you from colliding nature chakra into nature chakra? But here's the thing. I know some of you are probably gonna go, but Baryon mode is something that was specific to Kurama and Naruto, because otherwise, why would another Jinchuriki use Baryon mode? Well, that's true. Naruto and Kurama are the only people who ever used Baryon mode, and we don't necessarily have an answer as to why that is. However, the answer that I go with, which I believe is very logical and makes a lot of sense, is that Baryon mode lasted like a minute for Naruto, and Kurama comprises more than 50% of the power of the 9-tailed beasts, and he ran out of chakra first. On top of that, you would need a tailed beast who was willing to die for the Jinchuriki, and how many of those connections have we ever seen between Jinchuriki duos? Killer Bee and Gyuki? Maybe. But if Kurama ran out of chakra before Naruto, and Kurama has presumably at least 5 times more chakra than even Gyuki, that means that a Baryon mode between somebody like Killer Bee and Gyuki would last a grand total of what? 15 seconds? It seems like a really low payoff for the death of the 8 Tails. But the reason that some people applied to Kurama and Naruto being the only people who could pull off Baryon mode is that somehow Kurama and Naruto's chakra is stronger than everybody else's, which isn't true. Chakra can't be stronger or weaker for anybody. It can be vibrant, it can be bright. Chakra has color characteristics, and you can be brimming with chakra and you can pour more chakra than other people into the same jutsu, but it doesn't mean your chakra is stronger. What made Naruto and Kurama incredibly strong was the fact that they had an insane amount of chakra and very precise control over it. And the insane amount of chakra they had and the precision and the control they had of that chakra allowed them to accelerate their chakra and slam it into each other's. And while Naruto now does currently exist at 1/4 the amount of chakra he had previously, the loss of that amount of chakra hasn't made him lose control over his chakra, as Naruto's chakra control is still probably second best in the universe, with the only person better than him being Sakura. So if Naruto could find a way to collide his own chakra with himself when he collided Kurama's chakra and his chakras, both of which he had a fair amount of control over, there's no reason for us to assume that it's outside the realm of possibility for Naruto to be able to slam two independent sources of chakra together without the help of Kurama. Now, whether that was his chakra with nature chakra, his own chakra with his own chakra, or nature chakra with nature chakra, I believe that this feat is well within the realm of possibility for somebody as talented and precise with their chakra control as Naruto. Mind you, Minato and Kakashi couldn't add one element to a Rasengan. Naruto has added Kekkei Genkai. Oh, and also that was after applying shape transformation to that Rasengan to make it a Rasen Shuriken. And if Naruto was able to crack the code on colliding nature energy with itself to create nature's Baryon mode, he would receive a Baryon mode that would work substantially longer than the one he used with Kurama, because the battery source of the Baryon mode is no longer his chakra or Kurama's, it's the entire world's. And therefore, so long as Naruto is absorbing nature energy, he's able to continue this Baryon mode. And in essence, by tapping into the infinite energy source that is the Earth, Naruto, in essence, unlocks an infinite Baryon mode. And Naruto himself told Shikamaru in one of the most hotly talked about moments in all of OG Boruto that after he lost Kurama and he was going to chase down Code and Kawaki and Boruto, that he had become a much better sage. And while of course this moment could have referenced the fact that in the last 16 years Naruto has spent some time training in sage mode to become an actually good sage who's not dependent on the existence of Kurama, it could also technically refer to something like this. And now obviously Naruto was so frozen by the fact that he watched his son die that we never really got to see him fight after that, but that could have been orchestrated specifically so that we couldn't see Naruto's newest abilities. Now the only place that this theory kind of struggles is that it would rely on the constant pulling in of nature chakra. And since Baryon mode is a highly taijutsu dependent mode, and pulling in nature energy requires you to sit still, Naruto would need to find a way to pull in nature energy not through his own body. And while when Kurama was around, he was able to recruit Kurama to pull in nature energy for him, Kurama's not around anymore. So it's probably gonna boil down to Naruto using shadow clones. But the beauty of this situation is if Naruto were to hypothetically access this nature's Baryon mode, is that since the energy being released by the clashing of these two energies isn't technically chakra, Naruto wouldn't be constrained by the fact that his chakra pool is now smaller than it previously was. Naruto would presumably, assuming that the nature chakras colliding into each other was able to create a comparable amount of energy to the first Baryon mode, would just have a similar amount of energy as the first Baryon mode. Now earlier when I said that this ability would technically be infinite, I kind of lied. Because like I said, this mode requires the continual input of smashing two chakra sources together. And the second that you're not smashing these two chakra sources together, the energy to maintain Baryon mode isn't being made. So while technically Naruto could stand still and activate this Baryon mode as long as he needed to, when he started to move and he wasn't able to pull in nature chakra, he would begin to have less ingredients to make the final product that he needs. And the issue is, even if shadow clones are colliding these energies together to make this higher level of energy, sure, when they dissipate, Naruto will get a shot in the arm of that energy coming from that shadow clone. It'll be just that, a shot in the arm. Because when shadow clones are just collecting senjutsu chakra, when they dissipate, that chakra goes to Naruto. And since they effectively doubled how much chakra they had by pulling in this nature chakra and making senjutsu chakra, every time a shadow clone disappears, Naruto gets double the chakra he used to make that shadow clone back. And that wouldn't be the case with this form. Naruto, in essence, would have to make 100 shadow clones who are all colliding nature chakra in order to make this higher form of energy. And then the second that they were able to achieve this higher form of energy, they would need to dissipate, and that energy would go to Naruto, but it would only substantiate him for a couple of seconds. And thus, if Naruto were to do something like fight like Hashirama and sit on top of giant wooden constructs where he can constantly pull in sage chakra and not have to move during a battle, this would be an infinite Baryon mode. But since Naruto's fighting style is largely based on taijutsu, if he wanted to use this mode, it would require a significant amount of prep. And thus, while I believe that I've managed to make the theory that I was emailed just a touch more palatable, the likelihood of it happening in any capacity whatsoever is slim. However, when you consider the fact that the juvenile Ten Tails is now more likely than not Jura, who is almost definitely not gonna be sealed inside of Naruto, because if Jura's getting sealed inside of anybody, it's Kawaki because of the connection to Jigen, the route for Naruto becoming more powerful or regaining his lost power by either becoming a Ten Tail Jinchuriki or gaining the title of Sage of Six Paths to replace Hagoromo is getting slimmer and slimmer, and thus outside theories like this are going to become more and more prevalent. And thus applying logic to these outside theories to try and make them as palatable as possible is kind of important. But I'm curious as to what you guys think. Do you believe there's a possibility that Naruto would be able to pull in nature energy and make a nature's Baryon mode, or do you have a different idea for how Naruto could possibly regain his power? Tell me in the comments below. And while you guys are down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell.